It is 8:43 now, Alabama's Morning News. I'm JT, and join us to talk about what's happening with blacks and Hispanics, the youth specifically, and paying the biggest price for these minimum wage hikes. It's just disastrous. Craig DeLuz is here. Craig, welcome in. Thanks for being here.
It is a pleasure to be with you today.
I want to play you a cut, and this is a guy in Seattle that has his own business, and he talks about how bad things are, you know, with the increase in the minimum wage and trying to run a small business. And, you know, it's just getting crazy. Listen to this.
We're suffering. I can't really see my kids as much as I used to. I work 7 days a week. I leave home by 5 o'clock in the morning. I come home by like 5, 6 o'clock every day, 7 days a week, because I can't afford to pay people, you know, maybe 20 something an hour. Plus everything expensive. You're talking about eggs, you're talking about coffee and stuff. I'm American. I'm ashamed he's my president.
I'm American. I'm ashamed he is my president. Speaking of Joe Biden, it's insane. Who doesn't love to make $20, $30? Oh, heck, let's just make $50 an hour. It's weird how the government just thinks that, okay, we're going to force everybody to do this with no ramifications on the backside. And as I mentioned going in, you know, blacks and Hispanic youths are paying the biggest price for this whole thing. Talk to me about, you know, how those groups are being affected so much.
Well, you know, first of all, I think it's important to understand that anybody who's taken basic economics 101 understands the basic law of supply and demand. And whenever you create a wage floor, it is very clear you create an increased demand in employment, but you reduce the number of jobs, which means you create unemployment. Now, who that affects most is low-skilled, low-income workers. And that's exactly who we're talking about here. I mean, I write the piece talking directly, specifically about how it affects black and Hispanic youth, but it affects youth across the board. Mm-hmm. It just happens to affect these groups to an even greater level than it does all youth. And that's what's happening here in California. They actually instituted a $20 minimum wage for fast food workers.
Yeah.
And you've seen, as soon as it went into effect, a number of places laid off employees. Pizza Hut actually laid off about 1,200 of their drivers. And my son paid his way through college as a driver for Domino's Pizza. They also laid off over 1,000 drivers.
Well, they have no options. You know, as that gentleman was talking about, you know, the cost of doing business is going up with the inflation. And with that given, now all of a sudden you're going to make me pay more by law to my employees. So you know what? I used to have 10. You're forcing me to jump that up by another $5 to $10 an hour. So let me do the math here. Okay, now I can only have 3 employees, and I've got to work, you know, 80 hours a week to maintain this business. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why the government thinks that they're doing a good thing on the surface. Who doesn't love a nice raise? But look, let the free market, let capitalism, let the business side of things on how it works manage that and direct where that flow of cash should go and employees. And my gosh, if you get something going and let competitive nature begin, it just grows and grows and everybody benefits. This government force down crap is going to kill America.
Well, it's funny because it flies in the face of common sense, and that's why I call it common nonsense, because it is nonsense that seems to be perpetuated by more and more people on the left, despite the fact that there is not an economist out there that will tell you that minimum wage has actually helped. All it does is create unemployment, increase unemployment, and increase costs. And the group that it increased costs for most are low-skilled, minimum wage workers.
Well, Craig, I really appreciate your input on this. Absolutely. If you got to lay people off all of a sudden, now I've increased unemployment. It's really common sense.